Good evening, His Excellency, Mr. President Dr. Ramos Horta, representative of Australian Ambassador, representative of the members of the governments, audience, viewers, debaters. My name is Lucia de Jesus. I will be the host for today's University English Debating Tournament. So, for this debating motion, we are going to talk about the advantage and disadvantage of Timor-Leste being ASEAN members. Ladies and gentlemen, since 2011, Timor-Leste has applied its membership to become 11th members of the ASEAN, Regional Association of Southeast Asia, with the vision to strive, maintain peace, stability, integrate the market, and leave no one behind through the three community pillars, such as community, security community, economic community, socio-cultural community. Since the submission, Timor-Leste has continuously consolidating its effort to fulfill all the membership requisites. Therefore, on November 2022, Timor-Leste admitted in principle as the 11th members of the ASEAN and granted observer status. Now, if Timor-Leste were to admit it as the official members of the ASEAN, by tomorrow, this year, next year, is Timor-Leste ready? Ladies and gentlemen, to discuss further about this topic, on the stage with me, we have representative students from Universidade Católica Timor-Leste, and we also have representative students from Universidade Nacional Timor-Leste. And to also officially start our debating, I would like to invite our respected jury or the judges for today's debating. Mr. Elizeu Diaz. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause to our first judges. And we also have Mr. Silviano Jacinto Asunsao. Please give him a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Well, to start our debating for today, I would like to elaborate the debate for today. So in this debating, the debaters are going to be given a chance, 5 minutes to deliver the motion for about 5 to 7 minutes. After the presentation, the debaters are going to be asked a question by the host, by the judges, and also the debaters themselves are going to ask each other a question. So without further ado, I would like to give a chance to Universidade Católica Timorense to introduce themselves. UCT, time is yours.
All right, good evening to the judges, to the fellow debaters, and to the audience, and to those who are watching this live streaming. My name is Vadorio Capricorn Amaral, and my partner name is...
And my name is Jovenia Maria Bovida da Cruz.
We are the representative students of Universidade Católica Timorense, UCT. Thank you.
Please give them a round of applause, UCT supporters. Thank you so much. Now I would like to give a chance to UNITEL to introduce themselves. UNITEL, time is yours.
Good evening, everyone, especially to our Mr. President. My name is Waleska Lona Aruzu Costa, and my friend...
My name is Agustin Gomez Fernandez.
And we are the representative of Universidade Nacional Timor-Leste.
Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. So, once again, the motion for today is about advantage and disadvantage of Timor-Leste being ASEAN members. So, ladies and gentlemen, is Timor-Leste ready? To discuss further about this topic, I would like to give a chance to UCT to deliver the motion. UCT team, time is yours.
Okay, so let us define the motion first. The motion for today is about advantages and disadvantages of Timor-Leste being an ASEAN member. So what is ASEAN? ASEAN stands for Association of Southeast Asia Nations and was established on 8th of August 1967 in Bangkok, Thailand. With the signing of the ASEAN Declaration by the founding fathers of ASEAN such as Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, and Brunei. With the vision to strive and maintain peace and stability, integrate the market, and leave no one behind through the three community pillars. Democratic Republic of Timor-Leste became independent nation in 2002 after centuries of Portuguese colonization and violent occupation by Indonesia. It's a country which is located in Southeast Asia with a total population of 1.3 million according to the 2021 census. The location of Timor-Leste is automatically meet the geographical requirement. Nonetheless, there are some criteria that Timor-Leste need to address more in order to become an official member of ASEAN. As the fact that on 40th and 41st of ASEAN Summit in Cambodia 2022, Timor-Leste admitted in principle as the 11th member of ASEAN and granted observer status. In terms of three pillars of the ASEAN, let's see in Timor-Leste context. First, in terms of security community, the question is Timor-Leste ready? Let's see some facts. First, we are known as the most politically stable in the region. And why? By showing that we have no crime among political parties in our country. And second, we have no crime related to ethnicity or religion. And lastly, there is almost no crime related to drug trafficking and human trafficking in Timor-Leste. However, are we prepared to open our border and entering the free market in ASEAN without risking our country's security? Because as a new member of ASEAN, which is lag in advanced technology security, we can be the center of drugs and human trafficking in Timor-Leste. If we don't have any advanced technologies and increase our law enforcement members in the border, it would be so difficult to Timor-Leste. The data made by Global Organized Crime Index shows that Timor-Leste belongs to the 41st out of 46 countries in Asia. By this data, is Timor-Leste ready to open border with current crime situation in Asia, since it is higher compared to other continents? As according to the data of Global Crime Index, show that criminality score of Southeast Asia with a score of 5.46 compared to Europe with a criminality score of 4.49. If we are not aware of the situations that happen around us, it can affect the increasing of criminality index in the country. As reported by U.S. Department of State in 2014, Timor-Leste by the investigation note involves seizure 1.5 kilograms of methane destined.
In fact, in today's reality that Timor-Leste local businesses are conducted by small portions of the market. From those 2 points, let's think about questions. What can Timor-Leste offer to the investor if the investor are coming to Timor-Leste? Let's see together. First, Timor-Leste is considering tax haven country. According to Trade Invest in 2019, by only 10% of corporate tax, which can give a huge advantage to the investors compared to the other country in the region, which is with the highest is Laos, with 26% of corporate tax, and the lowest is in 20% of corporate tax. The last but not least, the third pillar of ASEAN is sociocultural. The term of sociocultural refers to improve people quality of life, which brings ASEAN closer to its people. The qualities of people's life can also be seen by their educational system. Is Timor-Leste ready to compete with other countries in terms of education? According to Daily Weekly Studies in 2021,
You have 1 minute left.
there are 40% of Timor-Leste who are still lost in terms of education, which is also leads to the reason why the unemployment of Timor-Leste is still higher. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Please give a round of applause to UCT debaters. Without further ado, let's give a chance to representative students from UNITL to deliver the motion. UNITL, time is yours.
Thank you. Now, according to the motions that is given, it's talked about the advantage and disadvantage Timor-Leste being a part of ASEAN. Let us start with the brief introductions. ASEAN stands for Associations. ASEAN stands for Associations of Southeast Asian Nations, which its purpose is to promote economic and cultural exchange among its member countries, to maintain a peace and then a stability in Southeast Asia. Also, establish the relationship with the foreign powers with similar aims. Now, let's go deep into ASEAN. ASEAN emphasizes principles such as democracy. When democracy means when the country gives opportunity to its people in a political participations. The rule of law, when law is for everyone. A good governance, when people know the process of the development in their country. Human rights, when human life is our priority. And market economy, when a free market for ASEAN members. ASEAN have 3 pillars. First one is economic development, culture and social development, and the last one is political and security development.
His Excellency, Mr. President, and ladies and gentlemen. Now, let's look about the preparation of Timor-Leste to associate nations. The first in terms of economic, and the second one is political and security, and the third one, let's talk about socio-culturals. So, in terms of economically, Timor-Leste, based on the strategic development plan in 2011 until 2013, it will say that Timor-Leste will achieve a medium level of economically, in particular of the family in 2013. Means that this government have big enough ambitions to achieve or develop our economic. So, however, in terms of commercial fees, every year we paid 500 million per year for commercial fees because we are more in dependency on exportations. This data saw up by Ministry of Finance in 2021. So, what are the causes that raise these problems? The causes is we are going to talk about GDP. So, we talk about GDP, we talk about GDP per capita and GDP nominals. So, we talk about GDP per capita, we talk about rendement of the family in Timor-Leste. In terms of that, in 2021 until 2022, the data showed that 8.6%, decreased to 8.6%. And also reinforced by World Bank in 2020 and 2022, say that Timor-Leste collocated itself in terms of economically, together with Myanmar and Cambodia in terms of lower middle incomes. So, and also we talk about nominal GDP. We talk about nominal GDP, especially in general about economic growth in Timor-Leste. The data that's out by Ministry in Commerce Industrialization in 2021, we are at 1.5% because of the pandemics. After that, in 2022, our economic growth is for 2.9%. Means that our economic is progressing. And in few years or 2 years ago, we also faced problems in terms of high inflation that happens in our country. In 2021 until 2022, we are in 6.7% in high inflation. In terms of that, one things that causes the problems because the basis of economic is agriculture. We talk about agriculture. We talk about particularly in Timor-Leste, based on the census 2019, we still have 66% that is still growing on. And also, let's talk about politics and security. So, in the current situation, we talk about politics and security, your list of human resources in terms of FFDL and also PNTL. Another one, your list of facilities. Even we are list of those things, but this government tried very best to cooperate in terms of military between Timor-Leste, Australia, and America. They cooperated each other how to train the military in terms of capacity building and military trains. Another one is we talk about fishing illegally is going to happen, and we talk about global crimes, like human traffic, terrorists, and organized crimes. If we are joint agent, it will be impossible to be theirs. Now let's talk about politics. Politics, we talk about the number of employment in our country is right now, we are in 33.3%. And also talk about poverty, we are in 42%. And we talk about malnutrition, we are in 47%. Means that our condition is less enough if we are joining Asians. And we talk about social cultural, Timor-Leste has a stronger social cultural. In terms of ethnic, we are divided by Australasian and Papuan-Asians.
1 minute left.
According to the motions that given, it talks about advantage and disadvantage, but we rather stated benefits and challenge. Now, the benefits are job opportunity. We emphasize 5 points here. That is job opportunity, teacher and lecturers mobility, human resources, free trade, and blue economy. And the challenges are quality of human resources, our economy situations, illegal trade, and stunting.
Your time is up. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Please give them a round of applause. It is a wonderful, informative, and very persuasive presentation. Now, let's ask them some questions. Start with you.
A good infrastructure for the schools, because like what we have said before, that comparing to the rural area and urban area. And also, we really agree that the education system is right now is very, very weak due to the data we get from the Daily Week studies, which shows that only 40% of people who are educated, and it was with the lowest number that happens in our country. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Please give them a round of applause. So it is concluded that the Timor-Leste education sectors is not ready yet, due to the fact that the debaters has mentioned. So now let's go to the UNITL. Speaking of the job opportunity, with the job opportunity, let's say, for example, with the current quality of education system that Timor-Leste have, labor competitive, let's say Timor-Leste were to be the ASEAN members. Indonesian people were coming to find a job or seek a job in Timor-Leste. With the current system of Timor-Leste education that Timor-Leste has, how can Timor-Leste compete with other countries in Southeast Asia?
Well, we think it is a challenge for us. Now, when we did talk about the job opportunity, because when we being a part of ASEAN, we have this workers mobility, and that is with our current level of education. We think of being a part of the Asians, we have to focus on the 3 pillars. That is the social and cultural, because we have to compete, because at the moment to exchange workers, we're not expert in science and technology, and our level of ability is still minimum compared to any other ASEAN countries. But we take it as a challenge. We can overcome this by a good quality of educations.
Would you like to add more? Please go ahead.
I'd like to add more. So we talk about job opportunities, and also their human resources in Timor-Leste are prepared to join ASEAN or not. So we talk about job opportunities. Actually, if you join ASEAN, automatically job opportunity is more. And the problem is we should prepare our human resources in terms of every aspect that Asians want to do it. So in terms of that, like your question said, if the investors from all the member Asians come to invest in our country, I think it's good enough for us. Like in terms of the data show that we are like the number of unemployment in 2021, we are in
1 minute left.
We are at 33.3%. I think it's a job opportunity, but the problem is if we don't prepare our human resources, we will be slave in our country. We just work for another's success. We work for someone who has the power in economics. The reference say there's only China who come to our country and invest, but economically, like the big industrialization is dominated by him. So it's
Thank
just
you
only
so
one
much.
nation.
Your time is up. Thank you so much. UN et al., please give them a round of applause. So it is to conclude that in terms of labor competitive in Timor-Leste to become the ASEAN members, it is still challenging. Nonetheless, there is a possibility for us to solve this problem. So now it is time for us to give an opportunity for the judges to ask a question. The two judges will ask a question. One judge will ask one question to one specific theme, and other judge will ask question to one specific theme. The judges, time is yours.
Thank you for the opportunity. His Excellency the President of the Republic, distinguished debaters, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to say that as the judge who already accompanied some debates in Timor-Leste before, I would like to congratulate team from UN12 and UCT for the wonderful presentation in English language. So let's give a big applause to them. It is not easy to debate using second language, but you prove to us that you can. Today I focus to hear about some specific points regarding the advantage and disadvantage of Timor-Leste to join ASEAN. So I have some specific questions here. First,
Before to answer the question, allow me to introduce, to say that the judges need to identify the team or
Yes.
which team that the judges would like to ask the question, from UCT team or UN et al.
thank you. My question is to National University of Timor-Leste. Can you please explain a bit what specific measures is Timor-Leste has taken to align its social and economic policy with the requirement and standard of ASEAN membership? Can you please explain a bit on this? I would like to hear about this in order to compare with the advantage and disadvantage of Timor-Leste to join ASEAN. Thank you.
Can you
time is
repeat the
here.
questions,
Okay.
please?
The judges, please make it short and understandable by the debaters. Thank you.
Thank you once again. What are the specific measures or policies that Timor-Leste has taken or implemented to align its social and economic policies with the requirement and standards of ASEAN membership?
Do you get the question? Okay, go ahead and answer.
Well, being a member of ASEAN requires two pillars that we have to follow. That is economic development and culture and social development. And the last one is political and security. Based on the reality, our economic development is still focused on petroleum, only on petroleum. But we can find another alternative to improve our economic development. That is blue economy. Because blue economy is an important issue in Timor-Leste. The productions of the mineral and gas is still not enough to sustain our country's economy. That is why we believe that it is important to develop other alternative ideas for managing Timor-Leste economy. Because according to the National Security Operations System in 2018, our oceanic economy provides 87%. 87%. That is, it means
1
that
minute left.
Timor-Leste is a coastal country. That is why we believe that economic development, we should not only focus on only one thing, but we should look more farther and yeah, that is.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Please give a round of applause to UNITAL team. Now, the second judges will ask question to UCT team. Judges, time is yours.
Thank you. I'd like to direct this question to the UCT team. The question is as follows. What can Timor-Leste do to prepare its people if it becomes a full-fledged member of ASEAN?
Debaters, do you get the question? You may begin to answer the question.
Can you please repeat the question?
Okay, if Timor-Leste were to be the members of the ASEAN, what can Timor-Leste do to prepare its people?
Well, thank you for the questions. It's a great question. We need to be, in order for Timor-Leste to join ASEAN, we need to prepare our human resources. So in order for that, we can compete with other countries in the region. In terms of developing our human resources, we need to develop first our educational system. And by that, Timor-Leste, our government should invest more in our educational system, such as infrastructure and our human resources as teachers and all the people that work in the education system.
So I want to adding on what my friends answered. So as he have mentioned that the most important key is about education. So education is the main factor for someone to get a job. And regarding to the question, education itself also become a reference to estimate the quality of a person. The quality of a person include their skills, their knowledge, and their work experiences which will be really useful for the company productivity. For example, we can see in today's situation, if someone without those qualities through education, they can't be qualified enough for any job sectors. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause to the UCT team. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be the fun moment for the debaters because it is time for the debaters to ask each other a question. I would like to give an opportunity first to the UNITAL team. UNITAL, time is yours.
Thank you. I have simple questions here. So related to Asians, why Singapore does not yet agree Timor-Leste to be Asian members? What is the main reason?
Debaters, you may answer the question.
Can you please repeat the questions?
So my question is, why Singapore does not yet agree Timor-Leste to be Asian members? So what is the main reason of that?
Okay, so thank you. The main concern of Singapore about Timor-Leste is in their economic growth. Because Timor-Leste depends entirely their annual budget or the budget for the state entirely on the petroleum fund. Because according to World Bank on 2021, it is estimated that petroleum fund of petroleum resources of Timor-Leste will run out on 2034. That's why the concern of Singapore to Timor-Leste economic growth. We can say that Timor-Leste economy is not healthy because there's only a major income of Timor-Leste only come for one sector, which is petroleum. That's why Singapore is still concerned due to the Timor-Leste economic growth. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think the question has been answered. Now, I would like to give a chance to UCT teams to ask question to UNITAL. UCT, time is yours.
Okay, so we have captured some of your points. You have stated about GDP of Timor-Leste, So the question is, which factor that plays major part in Timor-Leste GDP? And please provide us a better solutions to evenly increase our GDP in our country. Thank you.
Do you get the question?
Yeah, repeat it, please.
Okay, can you repeat the question, please?
So straight to the questions.
Yeah.
Which factor that plays major part in Timor-Leste GDP? And please provide us a better solutions to evenly increase our country GDP. there's a lot of factors that.
Right. Thank you. I got it.
Thank you.
So we talk about GDP. So we talk about the factors that support the GDP of Timor-Leste. So Timor-Leste is actually dependent on oil and gas. So we talk about GDP. So the petroleum is the main aspect that really contribute to economic growth in Timor-Leste. So based on the data that provided by World Bank in 2021, say that 48% that contribute by the petroleum. So petroleum is the main aspect that really contribute to economic growth of Timor-Leste. Another part of that, in terms of agriculture, it contributes 25.5% in 2022. That in terms of agriculture, it's like as I mentioned before. So, and another one that you talk about. The GDP, like you talk about GDP per capita for necessity, sometimes we got from the tax that's supported by the young people who go work overseas. And they can come and the rent demand of the family's growth means that they support the GDP of Timor-Leste in terms of GDP per capita. So I think that's all.
Thank you so much. I think the question has been answered, or would you like to follow up the question?
Yeah, I'd like to ask another question. Is it okay?
Okay, it's not fair if I only give a chance to this team to ask question while this team is not. So I would like to give both teams to ask each other a question before they get a chance to conclude the debate for today. So I would like to go first with the UCT team to ask question first, the last question.
Okay, so related to GDP, there's four main factors that there are four main factors that play roles in the GDP. If we want to know the GDPs of a country, which is consumption, investment, and government spending and net export. What you guys think? What do you think the government approach to increase these factors? What's the best way of approaching to increase the GDP? Thank you.
Do you get the question?
Can you repeat it? Can you repeat it again?
Repeat the question. Make it short.
All right. So the question is, there are four factors that plays role in the GDP, which is consumption, investment, government spending, and the net exports. So what do you think government should be increase more in these four factors, so so that we can increase more our GDP in the country? Thank you.
Okay, UNITAL, you may begin to answer the question. Would you like to repeat the question, or you get the question?
No, I get the question.
Okay, time is yours.
Well, let's talk about the investment that you said. When we want someone to invest something, it should be in a good conditions, right? And then, if you want other ASEAN nations to invest in our country, then we have to look for our infrastructure. We have to look at that because we don't have a well-developed place to hold an international meeting yet. Yeah, okay, I'm saying yet. And we don't have 5-star hotel for accommodate more than 1,000 people to come in our country. Let's talk about the investment more deep. Now, let's see other European countries. For instance, Portugal. When Portugal haven't taken part in the European Union, their economy is low. But when they take part in the European Union, it helps their economy. That is why we believe that being a part of ASEAN helps us a lot. That is, but we have to improve our conditions, welfare of the people first.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Before to continue with the Q&A session, I would like to give a chance to His Excellency to make some comment and to ask a question to our debaters on the stage. So debaters, get yourself ready.
Jaunia, primeiro comentário Juanito. English, your English is very good. You manage the facts, you control the facts, etc., all of that. Some minor correction. You don't say ASEAN, you say ASEAN. ASEAN, Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN, not Asian. Asian, yes, it's Asia. But that's a minor correction, just for perfection of your pronunciation of it. Another, yes, a big error when Umbeli said Singapore does not support Timor-Leste joining. That's completely wrong. And Universidade Católica is, instead of correcting, he tried to explain why Singapore doesn't support, because you also have the false information that Singapore doesn't support. Let's look at some very basic facts. One, as you know, in the summit, ASEAN summit in Phnom Penh in November last year, Timor-Leste was unanimously admitted in principle as future ASEAN member, which could happen in September in Jakarta or 2024 or latest 2025. In talking about ASEAN and Timor membership, none of you refer to the roadmap adopted unanimously again in the meeting in first week of May in Labuan Bajo, NTT, Indonesia. The roadmap lay out the areas prerequisite for Timor-Leste to join, and they are not rocket science. Treaties. Timor-Leste has to sign, ratify more than 50, 60 treaties. But the treaties is, in itself not complicated. These are international treaties. So the parliament is not going to debate it. You debate it, waste of time, because you cannot change it. So in one day, the parliament can ratify it. The challenge is how to adapt our laws to the provisions of the treaties. Any law that is in conflict with the provisions of the treaty has to be changed. That's also basic issue of international law. Our Constitution says Timor-Leste laws receive within our laws international law. So international law take precedence over any national law that is in conflict with international law. So the treaties are international instruments, so it's consistent with our own constitution. And whether we join ASEAN or not, it doesn't matter. We have to sign these treaties. These treaties we are not signing because they're joining ASEAN. We are not training more Timorese because they're joining ASEAN. We do have to train our people more and more, regardless of ASEAN or not. So there is unanimity of support in ASEAN. Singapore, following the Phnom Penh meeting, was the first country in ASEAN to put forward a comprehensive plan to train up to 800 Timorese for purpose of joining, meeting the roadmap and joining ASEAN. So, in a contradiction of, so that's the, but of course you are not the expert, you are not the Director General, or you are not of foreign ministry dealing with ASEAN. I don't know how many people, many academics over the years always made this mistake. Academics in Singapore, in Cambodia, they always say Singapore does not support. No, I talked in the past with Prime Minister Lee. I talked with former Prime Minister Goh Chok Tong, and they always said, educated people, prepare, prepare, prepare. You need human resource, you need it. ASEAN will be always there. it can wait. So that is that's my, for clarification, so there is no doubt in the listeners that, oh, Singapore is not supporting. No, that's not correct.
Thank you so much, His Excellency, for the beautiful comment and also for the correction. And hopefully I will not do it again, and for us, and for the next debaters also will not do the same mistake again. Okay, so to be fair in debating, I will also like to give the same chance to UNITL to ask the last question, since UCT has asked 2 questions. So UNITL, you have one last chance to ask a question.
All right, and last questions. Based on Timorese society, it's quite hard to adapt a new environment. In terms of that, 10 nations will come to our country. And how Timor-Leste can adapt really quickly in terms of conditions, because we have a multicultural and how we are going to live in inclusive society. Thank you.
Okay, UNITL, I'll repeat the question, make it short and clear.
All right, Timor-Leste, the society is really hard to adapt in terms of the environment. So we know that multicultural in terms of Asian, we have 10 members. So how the society try to adapt in terms of economic and other aspects in a really quick way, how to live in an inclusive society. Thank you.
Do you get the question? How the Timorese people are going to adjust themselves when Timor-Leste become the official members of the ASEAN? In terms of culture, education, and other.
Well, to answer the questions, we think that it's not that hard to adapt the situations. Because of what? If we are becoming the Asian members, it means that we will promote our culture to the other country, to be known. And I think it's not, we're not here to talk about that. It's going to affect or to influence our people.
So, can I?
Okay, because of the time is out for the debaters. Now, it is the last chance for each debaters to conclude for the debating of today. Convince the audience, judges, and viewers why you should be the winner for this debating. I would like to give a chance to UNITL first. Yes, your time is begin.
Now, to conclude our presentations, we believe that to become a part of ASEAN have its own benefits and challenges. Now, the challenges, why we say the challenges instead of disadvantages? Because we can overcome the obstacle. And first, we have to look at the 3 pillars and improve that in our country. That is the economic development and the social and cultural development, and the security development in our country. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Please give a round of applause to UNITL team. Last chance for the UCT team to convince the audience, viewers, and the judges why you should be the winner for this debating. UCT, time is yours.
Well, thank you for the time. We think that our team is the winner. Because of why? Because compared to the opponent teams and also the points that given by them, clearly shows that how vulnerable, incapable of Timor-Leste to be Asian members. While in our team, we are strongly emphasizes that even though Timor-Leste is still lacking in some parts, but it has created a huge contributions to the Asians by giving the points such as in terms of 3 pillars of Asian, which is economic, security, and socio-cultural. We also have our weakness And if we overcome those weaknesses, it can give benefit to us in
1 minute
long-term
left.
period. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give them a round of applause. The first debaters for the University English Debating Tournament. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the end for the first session of the debating between University among UNITAL and UCT team. Ladies and gentlemen, please give them a round of applause before they get out from their stage. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is for the first session for today. We will come back with the next session for the debating. Thank you so much. See you in a minute. Please shake hands. Shake hands.